Okay, welcome to the SADS Foundation's Living with SADS webinar series. Today's webinar is titled All About CredibleMeds. Thank you for joining us for this presentation and Q&A. I'm Marcia Baker, the Program Director for the SADS Foundation. It's my pleasure to introduce our speaker, Keith Symmonds. He's an IT Application Development Manager who helped create the CredibleMeds mobile app as a person living with long QT syndrome. He will talk about CredibleMeds, including how the app helps our long QT community. He'll also talk a little bit about the updated mobile app and how to find credible information about your condition online. The SADS Foundation has had a long-time relationship with CredibleMeds for many years. The founder, Dr. Ray Woosley, is one of our scientific advisors, and we are extremely grateful for his team, mostly family and volunteer-based, including his daughter, Kissy Black, who is on the call tonight, and this credible information that is provided for the long QT syndrome community. We're honored that Keith is volunteering his expertise and time tonight for the SADS Foundation, and he is joining us all the way from the United Kingdom. So during his presentation, we want this to be as interactive as possible. So you may ask your questions, posting them in the chat feature, and Keith will address them during his presentation. Unlike our other webinars where we wait and hold them at the end, as it comes up, go ahead and post your question in the chat. And as a reminder, the second part of this webinar series will be next Tuesday evening, September 23rd at 7:30 Eastern Time with Dr. Will Heisey. So welcome, Keith. I'll turn the program over to you.
Yes, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome. A little bit about myself. I am an app developer, and I suffer from long QT syndrome, which is something I didn't know about until about 10 years ago. I was playing basketball, and I unfortunately suffered a cardiac arrest. So I'm very lucky to be here. As a result of that, I ended up in hospital. I was very, very lucky that my teammates continued resuscitation until the paramedics arrived. And as soon as they identified what the issue is, I was shocked back to life. So it was a very distressing time. But yes, so as you can imagine, I was hooked up to all kinds of monitors in the hospital. Cardiologists were very, very attentive, and they said, yes, you've definitely got this condition called long QT syndrome. So whilst lying in my hospital bed, seemingly okay, completely fit, but having just gone through that traumatic experience, the cardiologist said, oh, okay, so we know about this condition. We don't know a lot about it, but we know quite a bit. And one of the things you need to do is you need to be very mindful about any medications you take. And they gave me a printed off list from a website called CredibleMeds. I was like, oh, okay, right, thank you very much. But I was like, well, this isn't the most convenient thing. What am I meant to do? Just fold this piece of paper up and put it in my pocket and carry it around with me all the time? And I thought, well, there's got to be an easier way. And as an app developer, I thought this is possibly the way forward. So I went ahead and I created an app. And then I had an email from no other than the great Raymond Woosley himself saying, oh, I think that's a really good idea. Thank you so much. That's a really, really good idea. However, what about maintaining the app? And I was like, what do you mean maintaining the app? He said, well, we do a lot of hard work here, and it's all well and good having an app and putting it in people's hands and making it really, really convenient. But we update the list really, really often. And of course, I was completely ignorant to this. All I wanted to do was have something in my hands that I could readily and availably read. So we talked online quite a lot, and they invited me very graciously. I accepted to do the official CredibleMeds app for them. And since then, we've built up this absolutely wonderful relationship, and I feel so honoured and deeply thankful to be part of this team. And that was the first iteration of the CredibleMeds app. And we've gone on for the last 10 years, we've had this really, really wonderful relationship. In fact, yeah, it will be 10 years in October since my event. Um, but yes, we've always worked about, the whole goal was getting this really important up-to-date information that the team worked so really hard to compile and try and make it as easy and as accessible as possible for everybody. So the mobile app was definitely the way forward. So that's really the story behind the CredibleMeds app. I can't see any questions, so I'll just continue, I think. Um, so, oh, excuse me. So that was it. I think really, in reality, I think if there's no questions about how that came about, I'm quite happy to demonstrate the app if everyone's happy.
Go ahead, Keith. That works.
Okay, thank you. So as I said, the most important thing was to try and get the information as accessible to everybody as possible. So the the technology behind it was try and take the CredibleMeds information and not only just make it accessible for iOS users or Android users, but for basically any platform. So I don't know if the audience or the SEDS community know this, but it is accessible on iOS, Android, Mac, and Windows. And I know that the mobile application does get a lot of traction because that is the most convenient thing. I mean, a lot of people do have mobile devices on them at the time, so that was the real focus behind it. At the moment, I'm just going to demonstrate on the iOS version, but all the other versions look exactly the same. So when you start the CredibleMeds application, you get greeted with this, which is the list. So you can literally download the app from the App Store for free, and you get the most current up-to-date list of all the drugs that have an adverse effect on you if you do suffer from long QT syndrome. Now what we do is we encourage people to register, and if you register, it's for free, and as an incentive for that, rather than scrolling through the long list, I'm going to demonstrate now. So let me just log in as a free user. So after registration, which is completely free, we ask a few questions just so we can make sure that we've got the right information. You get a search option, and you can still then go ahead and see if that particular drug. I was gonna take some lead from the audience to see if they wanted me to search for anything in particular, but I can't see anything in the chat, so I'm just going to go ahead and just scroll through here.
So Keith, I have one question for you from was sent to me.
Okay.
What do the different categories mean?
Right. Okay. So again, I was ignorant to this. I didn't know just how much of an adverse effect any of these drugs may have. So if we go ahead on the left-hand menu here, we can always see there's a QT or TDP risk categories description. And again, that's available in the free version as well. So if you go ahead here, we've got all these symbols here. So if it's an absolute known risk, that's the most severe icon, for want of a better description. So anything that's got a known risk to people suffering from long QT syndrome or a risk of TDP, that's the red symbol. If it's a possible risk, which has been highlighted, again, we want to give the audience the most information we can. Okay, so even if there's a possible risk, we will highlight this. So again, these drugs may cause QT prolongation, but currently lacks any evidence. But because there has been evidence of a risk, we will actually list that. And that's why we put the yellow triangle there. Conditional risk essentially means, as it says, there is a risk, but it's conditional. So it could be that if it's used in conjunction with another drug, for instance, or any other conditions that if the lifestyle or any other drug kind of interaction, then there is a conditional risk. We've also got drugs to avoid. in congenital long QT, and that is symbolized by this kind of DNA symbol here. Also, if we do research a particular drug, but for some reason it hasn't been classified, then we also highlight this to say it's either still under review or there's more tests being done on it, but we still want to highlight to the audience that is the case. And so this information is readily available if you just go to the menu and you select the risk categories here.
Keith, would you talk about why it's necessary to register and log in? And then also, why is the therapeutic options not on the QT drugs list? That's not part of the app.
Right. Can I invite my colleague Kissy to answer
Yes.
that question, please?
Kissy, go ahead.
Hi, thank you for letting me contribute. I appreciate it. We still offer a free version to patients and healthcare providers because we always want that important information to be at people's fingertips. But the burden of making sure that the lists are supported and available in all the environments where we can hopefully get out and before a prescription is written that might cause harm too. So the operations of AZ CERT are largely run on a volunteer basis, and all support is going to maintaining the data and maintaining our credibility and neutrality. We would never want to have pop-up ads or any kind of fiscal support that would sway that neutrality, because we really believe that this is an important service. We've been able to get federal funding and other kinds of grant support through the years, and times are changing. And so we're needing pharmaceutical companies and industry to bear a lot of this burden. And so the first order of information that's important, we feel we need to offer that as a service, but the deeper levels of information that people are involved in the ecosystem of industry, we really rely on that support to stay alive and to stay neutral and current. Alive as an organization, and we're going into our 20th year, and we were a Center for Education and Research on Therapeutics that started in 1999 by my dad. And Keith mentioned it's a family affair, and it really is. I'm Dr. Woosley's middle daughter. My younger brother actually works inside the organization as well. We have recruited every single, anybody in the organization, in our organization is probably like family to us at this point, because we really do want to lighten the load, but we are just at a situation in our evolution where we really need the support. I hope that answers the question. I know it's not a popular one. The registration is similar. The web app data is conjoined with the data that's in the mobile app. And so registration allows us to unify that user experience, and it also allows us to understand and learn from our use, and also make sure that the use is appropriate for how people are using the information. It is the global resource for this information, and it does feel like a life purpose to make sure that it stays meaningfully useful to the people who need it. And thank you very much for this opportunity to share our passion and our heart. And thank you.
We're happy to. Would you kind of talk a little bit about between the upgrade version versus the free version differences?
Keith, would you like to?
Okay, I can. So the information about the different versions is always going to be available on the app, even if you've got the free version, just by pressing the upgrade in the top right-hand corner here. So as you can see, we get quite a rich feature set here for even the basic, which we call the free version. So it's it's multilingual. We can do search by brands. We get notifications when the lists are updated. And as Kissy's already alluded to, these aren't these aren't free things that the organization can share, unfortunately, because even updating the lists, the API. I won't bore the audience, but things like just keeping the servers running for the API for the app to talk to it. It all costs lots and lots of money. So and as Kissy said, the key information, the relevant information for the majority of our audience is always going to be free, and it's something that I personally, as a developer, have campaigned and argued for. And I didn't have to argue about it very much. It was just making my voice heard, but the rest of the team completely agreed with me. However, for the larger organizations, the big corporations and multinationals and everything else, if they needed uh, the information that's in the pro version, so the particular routes, every other feature that we've got listed here, that we collectively thought, well, is that too much information? Because when I first produced the app, there was a lot of information to take in. If you clicked on a drug, there was like, I don't need to know this particular granular level of detail about how this drug interacts with that drug. I just need to know if it's going to be harmful for me. So, that was the kind of route we took, and we kind of agonized for a long time about what features we should include and what we shouldn't. However, so this is essentially it, on this particular view of the app. So as you can see, we have got quite a lot here that is still accessible for the majority of the audience.
There was a
Um,
question about therapeutic options
there
too.
was a
Mhm.
Yeah, so sorry, Kissy, could you field that for me, please?
Sure.
I know for sure from my point of view, developing the app, that it was a new feature, and a very relevant one. So sorry, Kissy, I'll let you
That's okay.
continue.
Oh, I think the hope was that the standard version would be the middle ground that could serve the patients of the most and the most robustly, without it getting into the weeds of the striation of drug risk that the people in drug research might need to know. That information is much deeper. And again, the hope is ultimately for this to be something that our electronic medical records does, right? Wouldn't that be amazing if it was something like a diagnosis code that instantly informed? And so as we hear your feedback and listen to your questions, we're here as part of your community as well. So, we're not here saying this is exactly the way it's going to be forever. We're trying to this is our first webinar with this community as well, too. So as we hear your responses, it's feedback we can take back to the drawing board and figure out how we could find other ways to find support. I do know we have a SADS 10 discount code for all community members to get a discount. And I've been personally campaigning to get paid subscriptions underwritten by philanthropy, like sponsored paid app subscriptions, because we talk about this subject internally constantly.
Yeah,
And
we do.
we do. It's heartbreaking to get emails where people are disappointed in us. But we understand it, and we're here to continue to try to learn and grow. But we want to grow and be useful and continue to make the information even better, like beyond therapeutic options. And I'll share this is part of the future. Because there's the next tool beyond the QT drugs list is Med Safety Scan. And Med Safety Scan is taking the QT drugs list information and it is incorporating it with all of the known clinical risk factors that could put.
I don't want a lot.
Pardon?
Hold on, let me.
Oh, somebody's on. But putting that in a scenario where we can give a doctor the clinical decision support that they need, so that they can say, okay, what are my cut points of risk? So if you understand the bucketing of the QT drugs list, it's funny because we we have a slide where it's like red bucket, yellow bucket, green bucket. And then if you personalize that information and you make it appropriate for each individual, we're going to be able to, in the future, add things like genomic risk, lifestyle risk, environment risk, social determinants of health risk. I mean, I'm getting futuristic here. But that's where we're going. And for this information, this drug risk information to stay neutral and true and breathing, because it changes all the time. And the more we evaluate drugs and the more drug surveillance is happening, we have to have people who lift those signals out of the flare. Like there's all these flares going out about drug information, and we have to be able to siphon off the stuff that's important for our community. And we really care. So I'm grateful to have this opportunity to share that heart with you about it. And I hope that this has given you an idea of how we are open to your feedback and thankful for it.
Thank you so much, Kissy and Keith. Go ahead.
Yeah, so to echo what Kissy was saying, this is always going to be a dialogue. It's never going to be a monologue. We're not going to say, here's the app, use it. We really welcome feedback. In fact, the this version of the app now has a little feedback form here. So we need to know how, if this is working, if it isn't working. And as Kissy said, we do deliberate quite long into the night about how we should take this app forward and what's best for the audience. But again, I'm just a long QT sufferer that uses the app, so I've only got my own personal opinion. We need to hear from everybody. We need to hear from the community. We need to hear from the SADS community. We need to hear from everybody that uses the app in order to make sure that we will get it right. No one's perfect. We're never going to get it right out the first time out the gate. So we really value this kind of feedback. So
I was going to say, I encourage anyone to make comments and suggestions in the chat.
Absolutely. Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
So yes, therapeutic options, that's come up.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just.
I think if you log into the website too,
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
It's available when you log into the website. But in the mobile app environment, it's a benefit, and we felt like it added value to the paid portfolio. And we were just looking for ways to add that extra bit of information.
Yes, certainly. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Kissy.
You're welcome.
So yes, the therapeutic options was added in this last version of the app. And essentially all that does is you can now search. I'm just going to go ahead and agree this. If just leave that up there for a second for the
Well,
audience.
let's explain what that is. That's a very important thing to agree to, because we're not claiming that this should be your choice. We're giving you options. It's decision
this is an
support.
informed choice, I think, is the words we're looking for. Yeah. So yes, I'm going to go ahead and leave that open, I think. So I mean, if you've got a condition that you want to try and remediate with a drug, so I'm going to go ahead and put cold here, because that's going to be what most people are going to be suffering from at this time of year, I guess, or depending on whereabouts in the country you are, actually, maybe not. But yeah, so it is literally a case of you put the condition in there, and it will go ahead and recommend, I think, a list of drugs that should not be used, and recommend a list of drugs that are not on the do not use list. So that's quite useful,
Especially for prescribers. I mean, this is really a prescriber tool. And again, our hope is to eventually get in front of these prescriptions, so that a person wouldn't, as a consumer, wouldn't be checking after they've already received the prescription, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So essentially, just pop the the condition into the search, and it will come back. So again, that's that's really quite useful tool that we've done. And we've got more future developments in the pipeline to try and make it easier for the audience to search for drugs as well. I don't know if I'm allowed to touch on those, am I, Kissy? Okay, so
no secrets, but we hope to continue to evolve, absolutely, and excited about just being here with you today. It's just it's a huge achievement for us to develop an app and keep this. When I first, just anecdotally, when I first met my dad, the CredibleMeds drug list was just static on a piece of paper, like you saw, Keith. And so for us to be able to create insights from what we're learning and can make the information usable and to carry it into how I mean, just imagine if it was inside your health app in your iPhone, or, the ways that people are starting to incorporate, or like the Alive Core paddle. And I don't know if you guys have seen the portable EKG device, which is now has a, there's more leads in those now, which gives us more of the signals that we need to understand what's going on with the waves. Another thing that AZ Cert offers that the people who have interest in this area might be interested in, God bless you, is our educational module. So like how a doctor actually sees the waves, or the tools that we give prescribers to use. Patients are really their own best healthcare advocate, and being involved in the resources at a credible website where the information is accurate, not like on a website where you don't know who wrote it, or our website's very out of date as far as aesthetics. I will give it that. But we're putting our time and energy into the content. But
absolutely,
we do hope it will be more beautiful soon.
Yeah.
Congrats. We have a new user that just registered, wrote me a private message, just registered on the mobile site, and it was very easy to use.
Oh, I love it. Thank you
you
so much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. So yes, Chelsea in the chat, yes. Exactly. Yeah, I hit the same problem only very recently. I'm with the NHS here in the UK. And it's quite shocking really that we're still getting these barriers, unfortunately. So hopefully we're doing our best here at CredibleMeds to try and remove some of these barriers, which is great. I don't really know what else I can do in addition to what I've already demonstrated it. We've got more settings now. Again, this won't apply to the majority of the audience. It depends whereabouts, really. Probably in some of those more southern states, Spanish might be an option, I guess. Text size, we've kind of identified that, especially there's one internal tester that keeps beating the drum, shall I say, on bigger size. Is that correct?
Oh my gosh,
your dad, yeah.
My dad wants the text to be so big that it's like 2 letters on every line.
Yeah.
Oh, this is going to be recorded and he will hear this.
Sorry, Ray.
Sorry.
But also, if you're visually impaired, we've tried to kind of cater for every kind of situation, if you can think of that. And I'm probably going to get told off now. But there's one feature that I'm currently working on whereby you can use your device's camera to do a search. So, if you're in a drugstore, for instance, and you're not too sure, hopefully in a future version of the app, you can just offer your device up to the label. It will read it and then determine if it's going to be well, it will tell you if it's in the list or not. So that we're trying to make it as easy as possible for the audience to use. So yeah, it is we're not although we're very proud of this version of the app, we're always constantly working behind the scenes to try and make it better.
And that's
and make it
because of
really-
you, Keith Symmonds. I just want to celebrate you. And I am so glad. And he's coming to America, and anyway, we're all so excited he's going to be here in a month. And it's just been an amazing journey. And I met the SADS community at one of your meetings in Salt Lake City over 15 years ago. And I'm just so grateful to stay continued, to be connected to you continually, and to see your new CEO come on board. And this video, I think, is going to be shared with SADS UK. And so we thank you,
It will.
Keith, being a member of that organization and helping us strengthen our ties with our communities all across the world. So that having multiple languages has been important to us.
It has, yeah, definitely.
We
Yeah,
want to
a
keep adding
challenge
more.
for sure, but no, we've got there. Yeah.
We'll keep adding more. We'll keep adding more.
Absolutely. So yeah, so there's a small exclusive for the SADS community. You know, we are we new features and everything else. But guys, it's really only down to you without the feedback, you know, to help us guide the direction where we take the app. You know, it's not that we're flailing around blind, because we understand that these features are really important and will improve the experience, should we say. But absolutely, we still need feedback from you guys. So we got to keep this conversation going.
I want to answer Judy's question. She asked if by having the app, you're getting the most updated version. And you will get asked to update the app on a big update, but that's the beauty of having that app, or logging in to the website where it's always living and breathing. It's always going to be the newest one. We try to send out an email every couple of months just to kind of keep the information going out in every which way we can. And another feature that we have on the whiteboard is to have this broadcast capability inside the app too. So it's just kind of this, news feed of everything that we're learning as we're learning it too. And that was a newer idea that came up through some feedback that we got. So I wanted to make sure I answered that app question of Judy's. And
we have a new question. How are drugs tested to add to the list or taken off? And what is that process?
Oh, wow. That's outside of my remit, unfortunately.
That's a question for me. I didn't realize I'd be talking so much tonight. I'm sorry.
Oh, I kind of figured that might happen.
Oh, no. It's called the ADECA process, Adverse Event Causality Analysis process. And it is where we're taking drug literature review material and we're combining it with causality analysis and surveillance data from all over the different global resources that provide that information. So if it comes up in the medical literature, or if it was marked in a study, or if it came out of the FAERS database, we are looking for these signals in all of these sources of information. And I think that's why AZ CERT is so pioneering too, because if you think about how the future is being built by putting things together in novel ways, AZ CERT is putting things together that are proven in the drug review literature. It's on your black box warning on your medicine bottle. These are cemented bits of information in how we practice medicine today, that is in a regulated form, right? And supplements and other nutritional things that we have no regulation around, there's just so many question marks too. So this is just information that we can be credible with. And I think that's why we changed the name from QT Drugs to CredibleMeds. And the where we're going next is taking this core base of information that we know tells us more information about what we need to know about good medicines, and keeping them good so that they're doing the benefit part of what they need, and we can minimize the risk part.
And Keith,
I've just put a link in the chat to the more scientific explanation, but that's again way over my head. So if anyone wants to pick that apart, that's a little bit more medically trained, to go ahead.
Yeah, there it is. And we have a whole blog. My brother is in charge of this process with the scientific advisory global committees that work on this. And he has his own blog that blogs just about this topic and how it's growing and because everything's innovating, right? And I'm proud to say that CredibleMeds is on the edge of what we're learning about medicines.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, so I don't know, Marcia, as you're the chair, is there anything else I could do with the app or
I thank
on?
you, Keith. This has been wonderful. And Kissy, I'll just ask our audience if there are any other questions. Would you post them in the chat, please? And we can continue this conversation. I think you've covered a very thorough understanding of how it works, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
You've had great questions. How many people?
Absolutely, these are
Wow.
great questions.
These
there
are
you
great
go.
questions.
How many people are signed up so far?
Oh my gosh. Oh, over 200,000 people use the website, and I don't have the current mobile app statistics because I'm not privy to those analytics. But the last we checked, it was, over 60, would you say 70,000, Keith?
Yeah, 70,000. See, this I know this seems like a barrier to the information, but it really isn't, which is again why we've argued internally about the registration process, etc., etc. However, it became very, very clear that if we had the parity between the website and the mobile app, we knew exactly which direction to go in. So I know it
Well,
does
there's more than
seem,
that too, Keith. It's like to get support from
yeah,
federal sources, or you have to know who
exactly,
you're
exactly.
serving and how so we're building an ecosystem of people who care about medicine safety, and we're going to continue that medicine safety umbrella of care with everything we've got. And the information we have today is super important to the patient, to the community of people that have long QT syndrome. And this information is so important, and we know that. And
Yeah.
I think that's an education I think you're probably tired of educating people with in your healthcare community, if I'm so bold as to prognosticate about that. So I hope you feel supported and seen, and we just want to continue to help in whatever way we can.
Thank you so much. And we have another question here.
Oh yeah, when nothing comes up.
What happens when you're a drug and
That means it's not in the database.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a great question. We thought about, and this is like the drug review, like if it comes up and it's under drug review, that means it's on our radar, but it's not in the databases. So if nothing comes up, nothing comes up. We should probably, like Keith, let's talk about that today.
I think, sorry, if I was just to put rubbish in here. Yeah, nothing comes up. So perhaps a little message, perhaps a message would probably be a little bit
Not
more
found,
beneficial.
not
Yeah,
found.
not
Yeah.
found, but again,
This is
if
where
it
we
hasn't,
need your input, because we would talk about that word swap. We would maybe we could send out a survey with what do you recommend?
yeah, it's something we certainly need to go away and have a think about before the next version is released.
A comment. You'll be surprised that don't listen to the list. Yes. Yes. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, to echo what I've said already, and some of these comments, I still get reviewed. I still have to go to my cardiologist every 6 months. And my regular cardiologist, if he's away on vacation or whatever it is, and someone else is stepping in, yeah, I have exactly the same conversation. It's like, how do you not know? It's just, yeah, it's terribly frustrating, especially as a developer of a really great app. It's just.
Well, I think that's on me to do more marketing.
And look,
Organic.
guys, and it's again down to you guys as well. We
Well,
can't
I'm
thank you
gonna jump
enough.
in,
We
Keith,
really
because I don't.
cannot thank you enough
We can.
for
It's true, but
spreading the word. We really, really do appreciate it. We can't thank you enough.
But they're
I
talking about
think we really
doctors
do
here.
need to keep doing that. Yeah, sorry,
I
Kissy.
I just want to jump in about the doctors here piece, because when we're in in clinical settings, we now give advisories, right? So if it comes up on the the drug list, then it becomes an advisory. So now we have to literally educate healthcare providers. Not only is this information important, but when you get the advisory, pay attention to it, because this stuff is we're trying to put it in people's work streams. Like we're trying to put it in your hands. We're trying to put it in the doctor's work streams to overcome that issue. So it's a great reminder. And it's also something that pushes us forward to make it so they don't have to. It's like when a jet pilot is flying an airplane, he's not looking at how much oil fluid is in the oil canister, but there's a signal that tells him when it's low.
Great analogy. Yeah. Okay.
I feel like we've gone over too long on our
No,
website.
this has been perfect, and we thank you very much. I want to just share that this webinar is being recorded, and as Kissy pointed out earlier, we're going to share it with all of you who have registered, and we will also share it with our international affiliate, SADS UK, so we can spread the word, so more people can see how it's used. So thank you very much, Keith Symmonds and Kissy Black. We appreciate your participation and long-time partnership. And as a reminder, the second part of this webinar series will be next Tuesday evening, September 23rd at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time with Dr. Will Heisey. He is one of the scientific review CredibleMeds scientists that's reviewing all of these applications, part of the review committee, I guess is what I should say.
Yeah.
So again, we thank you for joining us tonight, and have a good evening.
Bye, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Hey, thank you.